Okay, so with this video, we're actually going to go over the job ID and the thread count. So again, quick lookup. So let's look this up real quick. We can actually do an alias, or we can actually just type in walk and go right to the job ID description. Here you can see that the job ID is an identifier that helps you track the progress of the job itself. So we could put in any job identifier for tracking. If you do not put a job ID in, a job ID will be built for you at runtime. This will actually be processed into a time and date value. But for us, like any other settings function, we can actually just do, we can do this time instead of an add, you can do an ID, and here we can just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just to show that text, and you could see that that was actually put into our job ID. So next on the item list, next on the agenda is going to be the thread count. So we'll do the same thing with this. Again, we could do a walk on thread count to get an understanding of what thread count really does. And here, this tells you that we're using PowerShell run space pools for multi-threading. And so thread count is actually a way to manage how many threads you wish to run at one time. By default, the thread count is 50. So you can see that from here. We have a thread count of 50. You can change this to pretty much whatever you want. Obviously, just be mindful that the more threads that you open up at one time, the more memory you're going to utilize on the local machine to manage those threads. So 50 is actually a pretty good number, but if you wanted to up that, you can actually just type in thread count, and then here your count, or the first parameter in the list is the default, so you could say 500, and with that you can actually do, you could check your settings, and you could see that 500 has been added. We can also take the thread count, if I spelt it right, we can also take that thread count and do a reset to bring it back to its default. And then you can see the thread count is actually 50 now. Here we'll just update the thread count one more time, and this time we'll use the count parameter, and we'll do 1,000 machines. If we check settings, we could see that 1,000 items were now added to our thread count, and that's how many jobs or how many threads for our multi-threading pool will run at the same time. So if you have, let's say you have 2,000 computers, 1,000 of those computers will run at the same time, and once a job or a computer has finished, it will come back, and then it will start up the next job until all the computers have finished. Let's say you only have 500 computers, but you have 1,000 threads. Only 500 threads will start, because that's all of the machines that you identified in the list, and it knows that it doesn't need any more because there isn't any more queued up. So that's how that works. Alright guys, thank you for joining me for this video. We're going to keep on building up this artifact for deployment, and then I hope to see you guys in the next video.